Greetings, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Barbara Dean Franklin Show, Real Talk, Real People. I am your host, Barbara Dean Franklin, and today I have the awesome pleasure of sitting with my girlfriend, Naomi Dunson White, owner of Sweet Baby Cakes.
Yes, good morning.
How are you today?
I am fine. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, taking the time out of your busy schedule and creating all of the lovely things that you create to come on the show and talk to me about your passion, about what it is that you do. I always like to tell people how we met, and so we're Facebook friends.
Yes.
And today we're, face to face, and so, we are friends.
That's
we
right.
talk often, and, I'm always praying for you, and I know that you pray for me.
That's right.
And so I'm really excited about meeting you, about you being here. So before, we share your passion with the audience, tell us a little bit about you, how you started getting into baking.
Well, I always wanted to be in the kitchen as a child. It's one of those corny stories of people knew me as like Susie Homemaker type person.
Okay.
And it started with an Easy Bake Oven when I was a little girl. And I remember the little cake mixes. I'm aging myself now. The little
Right.
cake mixes that came with the Easy Bake Oven.
Yes.
When they ran out, I was in the kitchen trying to figure out how to make a cake for my sisters.
Okay.
I have two older sisters. And I've just always loved being in the kitchen with my mom, learning to cook, and I just developed a passion for baking. My mom made the best peach cobbler
Okay.
and sweet potato pie, but she didn't really bake much except at holidays.
Okay.
And I just really loved baking cookies and cakes and things like that.
Well, that is something, because I always wanted an Easy Bake Oven, but I think that my mom thought I was too much of a tomboy. So all I ever got was the bald-headed baby dolls, and I think they were from the Goodfella box. My sister, I mean, this story brings me back because my sister had a bride doll. It was pretty with the bride, accessories, and she gave it to my Aunt Crystal, and I'm wondering how come she didn't hand it down to me, But I'm sure I would have tore it up, I would have done something with it. So when, it's funny because I baked a cake. My daughter was at the house yesterday, and she said, "Mama, is this a homemade cake?" I said, "It was made in my home, but it's Duncan Hines." I've never, ever baked anything from scratch.
No?
I just don't do that. I don't, I've never had a desire to, but after today I may,
Okay,
I
we'll
may
see.
try, we'll see. So let's first, we're looking at the centerpiece that's sitting here with me, and this is the topper for a baby shower cake.
Yes, this is my most popular baby shower cake. Each little baby is dressed according to how the mom wants it to match their color theme.
Okay.
Ladybugs are really popular right now, so I use those colors from a ladybug. She usually sits on a bow, or if it's a ladybug or a bumblebee or something like that, I'll layer on a sugar leaf.
Okay.
So it's all sugar. And it's hand decorated. The girls usually like the ruffled diaper, and those are just little teeny tiny strips of sugar that I've pleated and ruffled and carefully placed in to look like a diaper.
Wow. So what goes into, I guess because they're custom made, so it's a custom theme, and I just really have to talk about, I'm hoping that people will go to your website first. Let's get that out of the way, because I want them to go and see this bass fish cake that you made for the...
it was a groom's cake.
It's a groom's cake for a fisherman.
Yes, this past weekend. He's an avid fisherman.
Awesome. I just I can't even imagine how you came up with this idea. What's your website?
It is sweetbabycakes4u.com. Sweetbabycakes number 4 letter u.com.
Okay. And if people wanted to get in touch with you so you can custom design them a cake, what number can they contact you at?
They can call me at 248-716-5YUM. That's 248-716-5YUM. Or on Facebook, Sweet Baby Cakes Naomi.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about that, about the bass cake, and then we're going to go back into some history for you. So
I know.
Yeah.
It is an incredible cake, and it was an incredible journey.
Wow. I've never seen anything like that, because it actually looks like like the fish.
It's a life-size fish.
With the colors and everything. It's so vivid. So, did she ask you for that, or she said he's a fisherman and you just came up with that?
She did. She told me that he's a fisherman and she wanted a cake that symbolize what he loves, and that's what he loves. And she said, "Can you do a fish?" And so I said, "Sure, I can do a fish." I had never done a fish before, but in my head, I usually visualize what I want to do, and it usually works out. And this was really tricky because I didn't want a cartoon fish.
Right.
I wanted it to be a real fish. So I actually got on the phone with my best friend, Cassandra, and I said, "I see this in my head, but it's just not coming out right. It's just not coming out right." So she got on the internet and started researching, and I was researching, and we actually looked at the way a fish really looks. I wanted a real fish.
Right.
So I looked for the scales and the markings, and that particular fish has like some dark markings down the side, and I wanted the fish to look like it literally was going to jump off the cake.
And it literally looks like it was going to jump off the cake. It looked like the only thing that was missing was the hook, line, and sinker, for it to come. So my question to you is, when you started baking, were you always creative? Can you draw? Do you have to have all of these skills when you are putting your cakes together?
Well, I'm no artist at all. I mean, my husband draws better than I do.
Okay.
I sketch things out. And do some measurements. You have to be artistic, but I don't think you have to be an artist on paper, because my art is my cakes.
All right.
So you have to, there is a lot of figuring and measuring, and there's a lot that goes into a custom cake. It's different than a cake from a store.
Right.
And people need to understand that. You need notice in advance. The Bass Fish cake I started a month ahead of time.
All right.
Because the materials, you have to make the materials. I make my own fondant. I don't buy it from the store.
Okay.
You have to mold. I had to mold the fish, let it dry, cover it in fondant. I had to paint several times. There's a lot that goes into it.
It's funny. My daughters were coming in yesterday, and I was Googling, and I was in the dictionary, and they came in and was like fondant, and they were like, "What is that, Mom?" I said, "Well, I'm going to be interviewing somebody tomorrow. I want to make sure I pronounce these things correct, So tell us a little bit about the ingredients, because I know you're health conscious, and so everything you do is you're looking for the best ingredients to go into your custom cake. So just take me into the kitchen with you on a day when you're doing a custom order, what all it entails.
Okay, the first thing is I want the cake to be unique for that person. Most of my customers will say, "Oh, I saw this picture. Can I send you a picture?" And they do, and I tell them I won't ever copy anyone's cake. But I'll take the features you like, and then we'll create something, for you.
Right.
So I have certain days that I bake, and then I have days that I decorate. So it starts with finding out what exactly they want, and that's through several conversations and emails. I put it on paper, my own sketch. And then I start imagining, my colors, different things I need to do. The sugar pieces like this has to be done, days ahead of time, because I actually paint in shadow so it can look like there's little fat creases. And, you want the baby to look alive.
Fingers, yes, all of that.
So there's a lot of shading and things like that. So I would, take the baby and start with her a few days ahead of time and let her get hard. Then move on to the rest of the decorations. If there's stripes, if there's polka dots, those things are made ahead of time. And I make my fondant the flavor that my customers like. And that's from sugar and butter and flavoring and marshmallows, and those things have to be done, ahead of time. So that my kitchen is always in the process of either being messed up or cleaned. Always.
Listen, so after the cake is gone, can you actually eat this?
I don't think anyone would want to.
Okay.
I've gotten comments on my Facebook like, "Oh, I wouldn't want to bite that baby."
Well, right.
It's rock hard, first of all.
Okay.
The sugar paste gets very hard, so it's really a keepsake. And I actually had a baby shower that I did last year, and the mom wants to use the baby on the baby's first birthday cake, which is a nice idea.
That is. That's
so
great.
yeah, that's a keepsake,
wonderful.
And it usually comes on a bow or something like that.
That's good. That's good. So now, what? Because you will do a cake for all different events, but are people just calling you and say, "Hey, I want a velvet cake," or lemon cake?
I do traditional cakes as well, and my most popular traditional cake is German chocolate. I don't know if you've seen how they go back and forth on Facebook sometimes about the German chocolate cake, but that's my most popular traditional cake.
Okay.
And I do have a traditional cake back there that's a lemon cake. Actually, that's the only cake back there that's a real cake.
Real cake, okay.
And that's for you.
Ooh. All right. I told her last night, you know, when you and I were on Facebook, and I told you, I said, I'm going on a diet tonight. And you were like, oh, well, I guess your audience would, you know, somebody else would enjoy the cake. I said, no, I'm going on a diet tonight so I can eat all the cake tomorrow.
Well, I hope you enjoy.
Okay, I thank you for that, and I will be sharing. I'll share with some of the people's. The first person who sends me a message on Facebook that lives in the city of Detroit, somewhere around, I will bring you a piece of cake. So just hit me up on the Barbara Dean Franklin show, and then I'll bring you a piece of cake after the show today. So first person who says, I want a piece of sweet baby cake, I'll bring you some today.
That's nice.
Yeah, so how, like the pricing, I know, you know, now I'm not talking about your custom cakes. Let's talk about your traditional cake, because your custom cakes are going to be custom made.
Exactly.
And so they're custom priced.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like a regular price that you go to Kroger's and you say,
Exactly.
hey, put my name on this cake, and, you know, it's $29.99. So I know that's different. But for your German chocolate, your traditional, you know, a double chocolate cake, lemon cake, or do you do just traditional pound cakes?
I do.
Okay.
I do traditional pound cakes, just a vanilla cake with buttercream. The cakes, prices include the standard buttercream filling and frosting. If you wanted a different flavor, like the specialty flavors, German chocolate, red velvet, coconut, things like that, there's different prices.
Okay.
But a regular 8-inch cake, a small 8-inch cake is only, I believe it's $30,
Okay. All right.
which is pretty reasonable for something that doesn't have a bunch of artificial
Right.
ingredients in
Exactly.
it. And I try to educate my customers, for example, on buttercream. Most people think buttercream is made with butter and cream, but in the industry, there is no butter and there is no cream in icing. If you go to a store and look at the ingredients label, you will not find butter and you will not find cream.
Okay, so what's in it?
It's made with 100% shortening instead of butter, and it's made with water. And then a whole list of about 20 other preservatives and artificial ingredients.
Is that what you make it with?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so tell me what's in your, what's in your buttercream cake?
Butter is the first ingredient, and of course powdered sugar. I can't tell you my secret ingredient.
Well, most definitely.
Flavoring, I try to use natural flavorings.
Okay.
I actually make my own vanilla extract, and I like to use emulsions, which give you a bigger, bolder flavor.
Okay.
And I do use fresh cream, and I do use milk in my buttercream.
So I'm going to go back because I think I remember something about where the name Sweet Baby Cakes came from. So tell us about that.
Right. That is, Sweet Baby is my nickname for my husband.
Okay.
And my husband is the biggest cake lover ever. He says his job is as a professional taste tester.
Okay.
So he tastes all my cakes and loves all my cakes.
Okay.
And his favorite is German chocolate. That's what he picks for his birthday every year.
Okay.
But yeah, he's always called me Sweet Baby. And friends call me Sweet Baby now. And so I just thought that was the perfect name for the business as, homage to him.
That's good. I just returned from Florida, and I have a cousin. Her name is Cynthia Whitfield, and we call her all of her life Baby Cakes. And so,
That's nice.
Yeah. Hey, cuz. Yeah, so she's been Baby Cakes, and she's, my age, so she's,
That's
so,
nice.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
very nice.
Yeah, so that's a great name. I like that.
It's a catchy name,
Yeah,
and I like the name for a business because I'm Sweet Baby and I make cakes, so it was perfect.
Sweet Baby Cakes is an awesome name. So now, so everything you do it in your kitchen. So you're not a brick and mortar. You're online.
I'm not. I'm blessed to actually have a second kitchen area in my home, so that is very helpful when I get orders for like 10 dozen cupcakes or 15 dozen cupcakes, and I can do that.
Okay.
And I'm also blessed to be able to work from home at my other job. I'm a teacher, but I teach online.
Okay.
So that's been a blessing. So it helps me, to be able to handle my business. And then most of my business is word of mouth. I get calls a lot from people who've had my cake at another event, and then they end up calling me.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, I don't know if like they can zoom in on this display table behind us. So I'm hoping that my producer is, because I want people to look at that shoe. I was going to try it on, and then she told me that, she told me that that's actually sugar. Tell me what goes into making a design like that.
Okay, would you let me bring it over?
Sure, if you can just reach it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, this is all sugar. And again, it's getting a design in your head,
Right.
you know, or you see a shoe that you like, and you know, I'm thinking I can make that shoe. I do that with my girlfriend all the time. I think I can make that. I want to make that. And this is all different impression mat. So this is alligator here.
Okay, right.
And then I just did some little cutouts. So you start with your heel. You know, you're going to make your heel and make it sturdy. And this is hard sugar.
Right.
This will never break, this part. And then you, when I started making shoes, I just bought like a Dr. Scholl's instep.
Okay.
And I traced it out and made myself a template.
Okay.
And then you just think of what you want to make. I know I'm not explaining it well because
That's
I don't
okay. I mean, because you do it.
Right.
Yeah.
There are kits you can buy. There's different things that you can do. And you really just, it's really taking small pieces and gluing them together, small sugar pieces and gluing them together and then embellishing.
I would have never, I mean, if you hadn't have said that that was sugar, I would have never imagined that that would, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would wear this shoe.
Exactly.
I would
Exactly.
wear
You
it.
know, I know my foot is a little bigger, but I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that's nice. You know, she would sit that on top of a cake, you know, but I wonder where's the other shoe, you know. Yeah. But that is really nice and
Thank you.
very creative and
Thank you.
a lot of detail.
Yes.
So I can understand why, you know, a custom cake
Why they
costs a
cost so
custom
much.
price.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah. So tell me this, what is probably the hardest design that you've ever had to do?
The bass fish cake. The bass fish cake.
Open mouth and surf foot. I know that.
That was.
Yeah,
You know, I really wanted it to look real. I wanted to look like it was splashing it in water, and I didn't want to just sit the fish on a cake.
Right.
Yeah, as you saw, I
Right.
created a pond scene out of the cake.
Yes.
And that was the most creative cake. It was the most difficult one, and it was the most satisfying one to date.
That's
Yeah.
good. And I mean, you know, that was an awesome cake.
Thank you.
That was definitely an awesome cake. It caught my eye.
Thank you.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, on the flyer that I think we have it on there.
I think you did.
I think,
I think you
I
did,
captured
yes.
it. So hopefully people will go out there, they will see that, because I think that if you're able to do that, there's nothing
Oh,
that
thank
you're
you.
able to do. You know,
Thank you
people
so
can call
much.
you. So what about that young girl, somebody that's still doing that easy bake oven, that really wants to bake, who loves to cook? I have friends of mine that love to cook. What advice would you give them?
To go for it.
Okay.
Really, to go for it. It was a hobby for me. You know, I just love to bake. And one of the things that I love to do is to take a real fattening recipe
Okay.
and then try to convert it into something that was a little bit more healthful.
Okay.
I don't think cake is healthy, but it can be more healthful, you know. So I try to be careful about the ingredients that I, you know, put in
Okay.
my cakes. I want people to enjoy them, but I don't want to feel guilty when they leave because of something I put in
Right,
the cake.
right,
You know,
exactly.
and my little motto is always that my cakes are beautiful and delicious. You know, they have to be delicious.
Most
We've all had that experience where we've seen a beautiful cake and then we expected it to taste as good as it looks and
Like
it doesn't.
something's missing from
Yeah,
this one, right?
yeah.
Okay, okay.
So, yeah.
And so how long have you been doing this?
It has been officially since 2012.
Okay.
And for the people that you were saying that have an interest in this, I started by taking a class at a local craft store like Michael's or Joann's. They have cake decorating classes.
Okay.
And that's how I started a few years ago. I always could make a delicious cake, but I wanted it to be pretty.
Wow.
I took that one class and I really was hooked.
Wow.
So I went from there and took private lessons and
Yeah.
classes at college.
And then again, I have to go back to that display table, because over here with the basketball, number 14, so that would be a cake for a 14-year-old. Yes.
The scoreboard would change according
Okay.
to...
Okay, okay. And then this would probably be something for a wedding.
A wedding cake.
All right.
Yeah,
all
a lot of the classic look is coming back to the wedding cakes. They were really, really elaborate there for a while. And you still can do an elaborate cake, but something like this, I chose this one because this would be very affordable.
Okay.
Because it would be buttercream, so you wouldn't have the extra cost of the fondant. With a couple of very elegant bows, you could have a very affordable cake.
So tell people, what is, fondant for people who don't know?
Fondant is what makes us able to mold sugar and shape it into these different shapes.
Okay.
And it's what causes this look, a smooth,
Okay.
polished look where it almost looks like leather or
Okay.
a material. And it's like a pie crust actually, but it's made from sugar. You roll it out and you cut it. You can texture it and make designs in it. I did this by hand, just, etching
Right.
like a quilt.
So now, are some fondants, I mean, because this is hard, this turns to sugar, so you're not going to eat that. But like some of your fondants, when you're decorating a cake, can you leave it where you can actually, if this was an actual cake, you could cut it and eat it? Okay.
Yeah, and I make it myself. It tastes good.
Okay.
Now, some fondant from the store, because of the dyes that you put in it, might have a funny taste, and they also put preservatives in it. So it's got a little aftertaste that isn't pleasant. And when I started doing this, I noticed that most people, when I saw a fondant cake, they would just cut the cake and they would peel the fondant off and throw it in the garbage.
Right, okay.
And I said, okay, I'm going to make my own fondant because I don't want people to say this is nasty. I'm going to throw this away. And so I make it myself. And if you like the taste of a marshmallow, then you would like my fondant.
Okay. Well,
But yeah, it looks beautiful, and if it tastes good, you know, it's perfect.
Great, great, great. So tell us again what your website is.
The website is sweetbabycakes4u.com. Sweetbabycakes4u.com.
And the telephone number if somebody wanted to contact you.
248-716-5YUM. 5 yum.
5 yum. Yum. Oh, that
Gotta
was
be
good. Okay, I worked for the telephone company for years, so I know how getting those personal numbers.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, that was good that you got that 5 yum. So tell me, you do custom orders, and my belief is that in a minute you're going to be doing so much that you're going to have to hire people to help you. Do you have people that actually help you complete your orders? Or are you doing everything on your own?
No, I do everything by myself on my own, and I'm actually discussing now about getting an intern, someone who's interested in learning, because there's a lot more to just the fun part of decorating the cakes. You have to run your business.
Right.
I have to keep my records straight. I have to do everything in order.
Exactly.
That's the way it should be.
Exactly.
So,
I was sharing with your friend Cassandra that I have a friend, we were talking about, how your business is about to blow up and so many things are about to happen. And so we were talking about interns because I had a friend, his name is Bruce Davis, and he does Bo Dillon bow ties. And he was on my show December of 2012, and he custom designs his own bow ties. And he was in school, then he graduated. And so that's what he's doing now. He has interns that come help him cut out his bow ties because he's been able to take his ties and put them in different stores in Royal Oak and all over, and people are just, hitting him up at all times.
Right.
So, so if anybody's interested in doing some cake designing and baking great quality cakes, really want to learn the business, because I like that. That's what you said. It's a business.
It is.
It's just not about designing a cake and putting a pretty, piece of work and it's tasting good. You actually have a business that you have to run.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. The business aspect of it. Did you have to? I mean, you're a teacher already, so you already know a little bit about business. But did you have to? I know you have to do an LLC.
Yes.
So what did you have to learn? What was your aha, I guess, when you got into the cake business? What is the aha moment for you?
Aha moment for me was really just, it was an appreciative moment for me for former Governor Jennifer Granholm, who brought into effect the cottage law for home-based businesses, which, there's a lot of people that have a talent and have a skill, can make a good sweet potato pie, for example. And that's all you want to do is just make a sweet potato pie. Under the cottage law, you're able to prepare that in your home and sell it from your home. There are some, specifications you have to follow, but you're able to do that. So that opened the door for people like me. Now I'm at the point where I'm going to have to come out of my home because my business has really grown. And what I really long to do is to have a place where I would conduct my business, but also have a couple of other kitchens to rent out at an affordable rate for other people like me. Home caterers or home chefs or bakers, so that that would be in the community where you can come out of your home and do your cooking. There's only a couple around, but there's many more needed. Yeah.
So you're saying that there are places where you can actually go into a kitchen and prepare things for other people and then take it away, or are they?
You would just for example, if you have a large order and your kitchen, you just don't know what you're going to do. There's places like I said, only a couple.
Okay.
But I want to be able to have a kitchen where someone can come and rent 3 hours, prepare everything they need, and then go and do what they need to do.
That's a great
Right.
idea.
But for back to your question about what you need to do, if you're interested in something like this, is first you need to take a food safety class.
All right.
And I'm certified through the National Restaurant Association, ServSafe, which any restaurant food establishment has to go through this training and get their certification.
Okay.
So you would just open up yourself for certain legalities if you're just going to cook something and sell it to someone without going through that training. You can get yourself into some trouble.
A lot of
so that's, I want to make sure that someone, if they're listening and they're interested, you need to take your food safety class first.
Okay. So, are you glad that you started Sweet Baby Cakes?
I'm very happy. It's very satisfying. The happiest times for me is when I get a phone call or an email or a text from someone whose event has just passed, and they just say, "Oh my gosh, that cake was so delicious," or, you know, it makes me feel good. They love the look of it, and the people love the taste. I enjoy getting that feedback.
Okay.
And I have some customers, they just won't go anywhere else. I mean, I do all of their, I started, one good friend, she's my good friend now. She started as my customer. Her name is Shalonda Johnson. I did her wedding, and then her cousin and other family members tasted the cupcakes and the cakes, and they come to me. Her sister, I've done the baby shower. I did the baby reveal. I do all her birthday cakes, husband, children. So my customers are my friends.
And that's the way it should be, word of mouth, you know, and then you know, your business continues to grow. So what I want you to do, because, you know, a half hour is never a lot, you know, not enough time, you know, so we will definitely have you back.
Thank
you.
you.
But hopefully I won't be eating too many of it. Eating too many. I mean,
I can promise you that. I like to feed my friends.
Exactly. But I want you to, right now, there's some young girl, some young guy, they're out there, they want to do something. They have a dream, a passion, and they don't know. Just want you to speak into the camera and from your heart, just encourage somebody about following their dream.
All right. I thought in the beginning that I could not do this. My friends, my husband, my family were telling me, you should sell your cakes, you should sell your cakes. So if you have something that you prepare very well and you have a passion for it, do it. Just do it. And do it right. If you want to call me, you can call me and I will help you. If it's food, you just make sure you take your food safety class. But there's nothing that you can't do. The only thing you can't do is if you don't start it. You got to try, you know, and there's bumps along the road. I've had many bumps, but each one is a learning experience.
Yes, it is.
Each one is a learning experience.
Well, I truly thank you for coming in. You know, we've been planning this for over a year.
I know.
We planned this for a very long time. But I know that God is He's an on-time God.
This is the right time.
And for such a time as this is exactly the right time for you to be here sitting in this chair with me. So I thank you for taking the time out your business. Guys, make sure that you get in touch with her at Sweet Baby Cakes. Give your website one more time.
SweetBabyCakes4U.com. Number 4, letter U.com.
And your telephone number?
248-716-5YUM.
5YUM. And I am going to have to end the show, and I'm going to end the show the way I always do, thanking you, my viewing audience, for tuning in, for looking at us. Hopefully I've shared something with you that is sweet and delicious on today, but it's something that will bless you.
Yes.
And I appreciate you, each and every one of you. So I'm going to say to you, from my beating heart to your beating heart, I love you. You understand? Okay.